ADX back once again, episode 7. I'm Trey,
I'm Derek.
and we are your hosts. What's going on,
All right.
man?
Not too much, not too much. I'm glad we're actually doing this one on time now. Check this out. We're moving up in the world.
We got a little schedule we're working on now.
Yes, sir. All right, this week's show, we're only going to talk about one position group this week. It happens to be one of my more favorite positions. I grew up with football playing receiver. I got to play a little bit of quarterback. However, the position I've always enjoyed playing the most is tight end. It's just because it's so versatile, and it's definitely one that is starting to gain a lot more fame and attention since we've had some of the great ones roll in there. You've got Jimmy Graham, Aaron Hernandez, but football player Aaron Hernandez was great. We got Gronk, Antonio Gates, Tony Gonzalez. So we'll hit on some of those and their impact to that game. We'll go over the mayhem that was Tuesday that the Commanders did exactly what you were hoping your Tennessee Titans would do, and we'll close it all off with our pick'ems.
Cool. All right, so tight ends. How
Tight ends.
exactly do you want to roll this carpet out for them? We're doing greatest of all time, greatest in the league. What are we doing?
We're going to do a little bit. We're going to talk about the greats of today. We'll talk about the greats of today. So for me, when I look at the top three tight ends in the league, I look, of course, Travis Kelce at number one, George Kittle at number two. However, number three gets a little crazy because I have Hawkinson and Andrews kind of tied for that spot, and it really just depends on really how that week rolls out. They're both reliable. They're both great targets. However, Andrews, since they shifted that offense in Baltimore, he hasn't been getting all the love that he used to get um, as of late. And then, of course, Hawkinson's really starting to gel with Kirk Cousins before this injury had happened.
So the name I want to throw in the hat that I think that he might not be top 3, but he's definitely top 5, and it's early in his career to be saying this, but Sam Laporta has been that guy in Detroit.
Yes, Sam Laporta definitely is doing a good job at replacing the hole that Hawkinson left when they traded him to a division rival. Indeed.
And also, he's got a very small sample size. He hasn't been doing it all year, but you're about to see also an emergence from the top tight end from this past draft, which is Dalton Kincaid.
Yes, if I was Knox, I would definitely be trying to do what I can that when I'm on the field, I am putting together as much good film as I possibly can.
Yeah, because Knox is going to be traded. They're going
Oh
to
yeah.
free up money by moving Knox in the offseason.
Yeah, and I can see honestly, I could see Dallas going after him. I really can.
Absolutely. That'd be a good fit. That'd actually be a kind of scary fit if he can get traded to Dallas.
Yeah, I could see Dallas picking him up. It'd be kind of funny because Buffalo was able to get the tight end that they wanted and then give Dallas the tight end that they had. I will forever go down as one of the most pettiest moves in the draft that I have personally witnessed, that I've witnessed, where
Mm-mm.
Baltimore they didn't even need him at tight end. They just picked it because they knew that's where Dallas was going to go, and it was the ultimate middle finger to Jerry Jones.
Mm-mm. Philly has been very petty towards Dallas. When they moved up to get Dallas Goddard, they jumped in front of him to do that, and then they also took. I want to say they jumped in and took a receiver over Dallas too one year. I can't remember, or it
Mm.
might have no. It was CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb. Dallas jumped over Philly to get CeeDee Lamb. That's what it was
And
because
of
Philly was
course you
targeting
would,
CeeDee and they jumped up.
and of course you would bring up CD. He had an amazing game last week again. All I was trying to say last week is CD is would be a better fit, more use of his talents in the Y spot than the X spot. He's still a
So
great
yeah,
receiver.
after reviewing, I went and looked at what you said. I understand what you were saying now, and I don't disagree with what you said. We're gonna let DK take the top off and let CD work underneath. Okay, so yeah,
It,
you were right. I agree with you.
exactly. And that was and that's all that I was saying is like CD Lamb would be better fit with somebody else taking the top off the defense and him mopping everything else up. Can he sit there and be your dominant receiver? 100%. He showed that last week, but all I was getting at is he would have more, you would get more use, you would get more wins. It would be more mayhem if they had somebody like Amari Cooper, but just had more of a motor than Amari Cooper on Dallas.
Agreed. Go
But
ahead. Back
anyway,
to the tight ends. Back to the tight
back to the
ends.
tight ends. So you look at some of those tight ends. Travis Kelce, of course, is clear cutting away the best tight end, and I don't think it's 100% because Patrick Mahomes is his quarterback. Does it have a lot to do with it? Yes, but I really do think it's also has to do with a lot of what Travis offers. I mean, he literally is the only man in football that just runs his own damn route. Like, doesn't have to tell anybody about it. He plays. Let me go find the open spot, stand in it, and catch the ball. That's what he does every single time.
Yeah, the only person I feel that does that in the NFL is Stephon Diggs. He's the only other person I know that they just kind of run out, do a little route. Okay, where is my quarterback? All right, let me go get in a position to where I can get this ball.
Exactly. And of course, but if you're playing with Josh Allen, he's going to throw it to you when you're in double coverage and make sure that the other guy catches it at
We're
the end of
talking
the
about
game.
tight ends. We're talking about tight ends. No Josh slander today.
Couldn't pass that couldn't pass that one up. But
No,
and
we're
then of
not.
course
We're not beating Josh up today.
and I keep Kittle at second because Kittle's a tactician when it comes to playing that position. I mean, he hits the blocks hard. He's a route runner, and he's also a red zone threat. He's like the second best red zone threat when it comes to tight ends, in my opinion.
Is he though? Because I mean, I feel like he comes in, he has a great game. Like that game, he had 3 touchdowns. What has he done
Yes,
since then? What has he
then
done since that 3 touchdown game?
deal with injury. That's the other thing. He's just
Okay.
not durable enough.
So we're talking if everyone's healthy or what they're doing right
Yes.
now.
With combination of the two. I mean, if they're healthy, then we could talk about everybody being healthy. But when they're hurt, I mean, that's the other thing. That's the big reason that's the biggest reason why you have the biggest knock on Kittle is his durability on everything.
Yeah, but the best ability is availability.
This is true, and that's why I have that tie at number three with Hawkinson and Andrews because I mean they're both available more often than Kittle in most
But Andrews
cases.
had an extremely slow start to this season too.
Yes, but again, he's adjusting to that new offense where Lamar's trying to push the ball down the field more, and he's not that breakaway tight end like Kittle who
No,
just
yeah,
runs
no.
down the field, or like Travis Kelce who just takes off flying down the field as well too.
Yeah, those guys aren't playing well this year. Your Darren Wallers, I'm gonna throw my guy in the hat too. Chiga Conquo, he can stretch the field, but those guys are really not. I don't know. We're not hearing about them this year.
Well, Darren Waller, unfortunately, is handicapped by Daniel Jones. Let's just say that because, I mean, Darren Waller's been starting to get more looks and more love once Tyrod Taylor stepped into that position. Still a far
Okay,
cry from what he was. Still a far cry from what he was. But, he's had to sit there and overcome Daniel Jones. We can all agree Daniel Jones was not worth that, that
they knew he wasn't
re-signing.
worth it when they gave it to him,
But they just didn't want to pay Saquon,
and they still haven't paid Saquon.
which is stupid. But now, when you said the other part that you asked was when we want to talk about greatest of all times, when it comes to tight ends.
It's no question
Everybody,
for me.
yeah, anybody who knows me knows who I'm going to go with instantly on the greatest tight end of all time, and that's Tony Gonzalez.
And no debate here. That's who it is.
There is not another tight end better than Tony Gonzalez. And again, like I said, I can hear Patriot fandom right now running at me as hard as they can, screaming, "What about Gronk?"
It's because of the rings. That's the only thing Gronk's got
That's
over Tony Gonzalez.
the biggest thing of the rings. But like, because when you start sitting there breaking it down, Gronk only had 621 receptions for his entire career. Tony Gonzalez had 2012.
I already said what I said. Tony Gonzalez is far and away the best tight end of all time. Far and away.
15,000 yards to 9,000 yards for receiving yards for Tony Gonzalez and Gronk.
I think Trav has more than that.
I think so too. Tony Gonzalez, 111 receiving touchdowns to Gronk's 92. Now, don't get me wrong, Gronk is a
That's good.
monster.
Yeah, he's a red zone guy.
Yeah, Gronk is a monster, huge monster. However, there's no debate on who the GOAT tight end is at all when you try to talk about Gronk. I mean, he's just not going to unseat it. And the other thing is the fact that I mean, Tony Gonzalez played literally with scrubs for most of his career. They
And
were
then he
pull-
played in a run heavy NFL too.
a yes, and still was the number one targeted. He was the biggest. He was the number one. He was the leading receiver on the Kansas City Chiefs for most of his career.
And then went to Atlanta and balled out there.
Mhm. And then another big name that I always so for me it's Tony Gonzalez. Number two is Gates and Gronk. I put
They having a
Antonio
share in the
Gates.
spot.
They're sharing that spot together. And then, and if of course, if you have to rack and stack them, that third spot again is whoever loses that Gates and Gronk debate. And then you got to throw in Shay Shay at number three.
You
You
forgetting
can't,
the name.
you can't. Jimmy Graham,
You forgetting the name. Hell no. You forgetting the bigger name.
Jason Witten.
Jason Witten, man. Put some respect on his name, man.
Jason, hey, Jason Witten's definitely in the top five. But when it comes to top three, those are the names that float around for me for top when it comes to my top three.
Jason
So,
Witten did everything. Just like how you said Kittle does blocking. Now
yes,
think of Jason Witten he was a sixth lineman. Kittle not
yes,
blocking the way Jason was blocking. And
no,
then in third and whatever, Jason go out there and get you that first down.
yeah. Jason Witten is probably a good combination of Travis Kelsey and George Kittle.
Jason Witten is a good combination of Travis Kelsey and an offensive lineman. That's what he was, man. He was great at his job.
He was part of that dominant offensive line that Dallas has always been known for. Now, one of the
But as far as
funniest
the
things.
other guys, those are solid names.
The funniest thing that I've ever seen was the only time that I've seen Tony Gonzalez and Shannon Sharp on the same TV set, and that was on Undisputed. And I don't know if they don't like each other. I don't know what it was, but Tony Gonzalez just and Shannon Sharp just do not get along. Like they spent the whole time. He's like, "Yeah, you can win three Super Bowl rings easy when you got quarterbacks like John Elway throwing to you."
I saw that. I saw that one. They're
But
envious of each other. They're kind of envious of each other because Shannon knows those stats that Tony has is those are remarkable. But when it
yeah,
comes to the Super Bowls, Shannon's got more. So
oh yeah, but I mean Shannon's numbers are still nothing to slouch about. I mean Shannon Sharp has 10,000 yards. He's at for his career average is 12.3 yards. So you throw Shannon the ball, you're gonna get a first down, regardless.
Shannon was a receiver.
Yeah, and then he still gave you 62 touchdowns, but that one game he had where he had like four catches for like 200 and something yards and two touchdowns, and it was like still the first half.
Hey, players do that. They show you their problems, man, every now and
Oh
again.
yeah,
Just like I said, the other what was that about 2 3 weeks ago? Kittle put up 3 touchdowns.
yeah,
So he's showing you, hey, look, I have the ability to do it when I need to do it. But the Kittle's biggest problem is what's all in San Francisco, all those
oh
weapons.
yeah, all those weapons, and his age is starting to catch up to him.
So it is what it is, man. They're finna run out of money.
Mm.
More later on San Francisco in a little bit.
Oh yeah, I mean, they're going to wind up like Kansas City over the salary cap and nothing really to do with it.
They're going all in right now because they don't have a quarterback contract. So that's the biggest thing that's helping them right now. So they're going all in because they ain't got to play Brock yet, but it's coming around the corner. Brock has what,
Yeah,
2 more years? Actually, probably a year and a half before you got to throw the money at him.
this is true, but Brock's not doing himself any favors by playing the way he's playing right now.
Yeah, but they're gonna pay him. He's better than
Ah,
Daniel Jones, and
oh,
Daniel
I'll
Jones
give you
got
that one.
paid.
Oh, I'll give you that one, but we'll have to see how a lot of that goes. That's hopefully that salary cap makes a tick upwards so they can retain most of these players. Um, what else was I gonna say? But yeah, so on the topic of tight ends, you also have some other greats. I mentioned Jimmy Graham. Look, despite what the man did, I understand Aaron Hernandez was also a very good tight end for the times that he was in the league. He really was.
Jimmy Graham
Uh,
was short for a very short duration. That's why I don't like throwing
that's
his
why you
name in.
don't
Once he
really,
got traded off the Saints, that was it. That's pretty much it.
yeah, with Drew Brees once he was out of there. Now, what about Heath Miller for the Steelers? I mean, you want to
Steelers.
talk about all
Heath
reliable.
was solid. He
And
was a
then
solid player.
and then don't forget about Jeremy Shockey.
Yep. Jared for the Giants. Yep. Jeremy Shockey was solid.
Jeremy Shockey was a beast. So, there's a lot of these
Hey,
good.
you forgetting the name, man? Don't
Oh, we already
Delaney
talked about.
Walker.
Oh my gosh.
Don't do that.
Look, so you want to sit there talking about forgotten names? Don't forget about Houston's own old reliable, which was Owen Daniel. I mean, he wasn't any star stud, anything to keep
Next
up with.
subject. Next subject.
Shit. Hey, I'm not sitting here. I'm not calling him the greatest. I'm not calling him. I'm not putting him anywhere near the mantle of greats. All I'm saying was for Houston, he was reliable and he was good. We could have done a hell of a lot better, especially. But I mean, at the same time, man came in. He played his part. He did well with Gary Kubiak's system.
Sure, sure,
Mm. That man has. Hey,
sure,
he's won me many a fantasy football game. So Owen Daniels will always be my dude.
sure, man. The fact that you try to put him in the same breath as
No,
Delaney
I
Walker,
was.
though, Delaney Walker has had a 1,000-yard season before.
This is true. That is true.
Before
Out
AJ came, pathetically enough, that was the last time we had a 1,000-yard
tight
receiver.
end. Yeah.
No, pass catcher.
Hmm. Speaking about AJ Brown, how are y'all feeling about that right now?
Oh, it was stupid. That's why somebody lost their job. That's why John Robinson lost his job because of the trade. We made the trade. I tried to make sense of it. I was like, I get it. We're a run first team. I don't want to pay a receiver, 25 plus million a season. I was on board. I was sipping the tea too. Then we got Traylon Burke, and I was like, yeah, he's been compared to AJ. He can come in and be AJ. Wrong. He can't stay on the field. And when he is on the field, he can't get separation. And then the what got him fired ultimately is we played Philly that year. AJ
Oh
hung
yeah,
3 touchdowns on us on a Sunday. By Monday, John Robinson was fired.
man, that was almost as bad. At least you guys got more compensation for your number one than what we did.
Oh, for DeAndre. Y'all got
Yes.
a broke running back and a second pick?
Yeah. I still want to fight Bill O'Brien. That was on my birthday when they traded him. I will never forget that. I will never forgive him.
That was your birthday present.
No, it
What's the
was
problem?
see. the-
What'd y'all do with that pick? Who was the person selected as that pick? Because that matters.
I think it was Blacklock, who's no longer on the team.
See, I don't even know what the hell that is.
Exactly. He was a defensive tackle that shouldn't have been picked up.
Good job.
Yeah, I think he was on Cincy's practice squad last I saw about him, and I think he's out of the NFL right now.
And speaking of D-Hop, what's the last thing that D-Hop did as of recent? What did he? Three touchdowns the other day.
It wasn't on Houston, so it don't matter, boy.
It's coming. It's
Shut
coming,
up.
man.
Shut up.
It's coming. And wait a
And,
minute. I think
and
for the
y'all's
home
counterfeits
game,
and y'all's counterfeit freaking uniforms too.
yeah, and we're gonna wear them one more. What game are we wearing them again? When do we wear them? I think we're gonna be at home again, and I
Mm.
want to say it's the Texans that we're gonna be wearing it against when we play at home.
I
Circle that
hope
on your calendar.
I hope CJ has like the game of his life that day.
He has no dog in that fight. He don't care about that.
You that
CJ
is
does not care.
None of those players care.
The owner is probably the only person that's probably pissed about it, but I don't like y'all owner anyway.
I don't
So,
like our owner either. I'm just now starting to like our GM.
I like our owner. We have a lady.
Yeah, we could stand to look. I would not be surprised. I would not be upset if Cal McNair decided to sell that team finally. As long as it stayed in Houston, that's all I care about.
All right, so where are we at in the script? Where are we at? Where are we at?
Since we
Tight
want to talk
ends.
about trade, well, no, we're kind of finished up with tight ends. What makes up a good tight end? Definitely, like we talked about, got to be able to block. You got to have some form of route running, like we see with Jason, like we saw with Jimmy Graham when he was with the Saints, like what we see with Kittle, and like what we see but don't see with Travis Kelsey. Pass catching, got to be able to be reliable, especially in the red zone. Again, Graham or not Graham. Then again, Jason Witten, uh, Travis Kelsey, eating up all those red zone targets. I mean, hell, even when he was with Dallas, we saw it more. But Dalton Schultz was actually starting to emerge as a pretty decent tight end, eating up some red zone targets as well too. He's not doing so much with the Texans. He started to, and then we were like, hey, this guy doesn't know how to play football anymore. So you gotta be able to have that. Um, And then, of course, I talked about the red zone, close yardage thing, but of course, again, the extra added linemen, offensive linemen that we saw a lot from with Jason Witten, from Heath Miller, a lot of those teams that had a strong run game, being able to sit there, throw that extra block in there, and be able to help spring that running back loose to get down the field. So those are a lot of what makes up tight end one, in my opinion. Um, and I guess one thing that I would love to see, one connection that I would love to see more than anything else would be Tony Gonzalez in his prime playing for the Kansas City Chiefs right now. Could you imagine the unfairness that would be in the league right now?
Well, there's not a whole lot of teams that have two great tight ends. I mean, you see the Patriots, they tried to replicate their heyday when they went out, I think it was about 3 or 4 seasons ago, when they went out in the same off seasons, they signed hot off the press from us, Johnu Smith, and then they also
Hmm.
went and got Hunter Henry. So they were trying to replicate that, and that didn't work out. So
No, it did not.
a
It's
team having two good tight ends is extremely rare right now. And
double
also to
tight end
have a
sets
tight
do
end
not
that
work.
blocks, yeah, tight ends that block, that's also if a tight end blocks well, he's a terrible pass catcher. To find someone that does both is extremely rare right now. But of the pass catchers that you said, there's a name that you didn't say, and for a good reason, because we're talking about some of the better guys. But in a different system with a different quarterback, and I know it's gonna be a while before they trade him, but I still think Kyle Pitts is gonna be the guy, man. Kyle Pitts is a mismatch to any linebacker that's gonna be lined over top of him, and that's 9 times out of 10 what's gonna be lined over him when you're that tight to the line.
I
Put him in the right
am
situation.
I'm inclined to agree. I am, but I just don't think he. I agree. I think Atlanta took him as a luxury pick
No, they took him as the
because,
best available. It wasn't luxury. He was there.
but I mean, they're not doing anything to sit. They're not doing him any favors whatsoever. I would like to see what more he can do. I mean, like what the last 2, 3 games they've actually been using him
They're
in a
trying to get
way
him the
that,
ball, but
yeah.
the thing is, how, when you have those measurables and you're that fast, trying it, man, throw the ball to him. Just throw it
Hmm.
up. Let him show you that, hey, he can't go up there and get him. But let him show you that. Until he shows you he can't go get him, and throw it up there, especially if you get him in a one-on-one.
Yeah. But we'll have to see because, like I said, we got some other tight ends that are coming in pretty decently this next season. So hopefully that's going to help spring loose a couple of more things, and we'll see what goes out from there. But the tight end position is evolving to more pass catching than blocking, if anything else. So and again, that goes in parts to Gronk, Travis Kelsey, Kittle, people, Hutchinson, Laporta, everybody trying to recreate all their versions of these different pass catching tight ends to play as an added receiver, an
Agreed
extra,
with that.
basically a bulkier receiver. So we'll see how those develop and how those go forward because I'm not seeing too many tight ends right now that are even in college, at the college level, that are blocking.
Yeah, because Brock Bowers is a big pass catcher as well too. And
He
don't be
is. I mean,
surprised if you see mock drafts have him going us. Because if Will Levis decides that he wants to be that guy that we want him to be, and he's going to be the future of our team, there goes our name out the hat for a quarterback, and we can now go get some weapons.
yeah, I agree, but I mean, he's Brock Bowers has ankle surgery, man. He's fallen in the draft. I can tell you that
Yeah,
right
but
now.
we're
He
probably
went
going to go
from
O line anyway. I was just talking. We're going to go O line. We got to fix our O line.
yeah. Well, I know one guy who's getting a little old, and even though we're the same age, but having somebody behind him to teach him that has all the same traits and intangibles that he does, I think him going to Kansas City would probably would be his best bet.
That'd be the best fit for him.
Yeah,
Obviously, that's the spot that he wants to go. And if you said he's going to fall, then he could fall right into the lap of KC.
and
But
that
Dallas
would
is
be a
willing to take
mistake.
those type of risks too. Even though they just took a tight end, I could see them trying to come up and still do it to get some more weapons
That's
for their future quarterback, Trey Lance.
Yeah, but that's also if Dallas wants to go ahead and give up on who they
Ferguson.
got in there, Ferguson. And Ferguson's been
He's not
he
even
ain't
really
been too
playing.
terrible. No, he's really not. Oh, I'm sorry, not even going with Ferguson. That's if Dallas doesn't want to go in and try and get Knox.
Oh yeah, yeah. And then no, it was. It's not. If Ferguson's who's playing. It's the one they took was Schoonmaker. It just came to my
Shoemaker,
head.
yeah.
Schoonmaker's the one they just drafted.
Yeah.
There's a lot of tight ends taken in the first 3 rounds of this past draft, like surprisingly.
Yeah.
But they're balling. They're for the most part they're balling. Luke Musgraves was taken in the first 3 rounds.
Musgraves is going to need another season to develop.
Yeah, he's inconsistent. They don't really throw him the ball a whole lot. But then you got Dobbs and Christian Watson getting the ball over there too, though. So
Yeah.
understandable.
And Jaden Reed as well too. He's actually been starting to pay his reception started to take up a little bit more. They're going more with the receiver set than they are with anything else.
Yeah, because the running game ain't working for them. Aaron Jones is seems to be worried about his hamstring still, and
Yeah.
AJ Dillon is just taking up a roster spot at this point. Their
Yeah, pretty
one-two punch
much.
that they had is no longer there.
No. But with that being said, we hinted a little bit at it, talk about trades and movements and everything out like that. Let's talk about this trade deadline where you were hoping that your Tennessee Titans would just go ahead and mortgage the farm for the future, but they didn't. And
Because Will Levis
unexpectedly,
decided that he wanted to have a 4 touchdown, no interception game and win us a game. So I've said this on my Facebook before. I'm not going to double down on it yet, but I said that Will Levis in the second round was a steal. He has shown that with his first game, and
yeah,
I'm not gonna jump on the bandwagon of saying Will Levis is our savior just yet. He's gonna get to have a really good test today. That Mike Tomlin defense is gonna be on him, and I know he's gonna be sending them misdirection blitzes. And you got T.J. Watt coming off of one side and Highsmith coming off the other. Plus their
yeah,
secondary. Now Minka Fitzpatrick, if he does play, I saw him; he was questionable. He's a little banged up, so that could help. But it's going to be a real good test. I have. We'll get to the pickums later, and I'll explain that later on. But it's going to be a good test.
yeah. So now we talked about that. The trade. Speaking of the Commanders, the trade that happened, them giving up second round Chase Young to the San
Second round, no,
Francisco
second overall pick, not second
second
round, first
overall pick.
rounder.
Yeah, first rounder, second overall pick. That's what I meant to the San Francisco 49ers. How do you see that working?
First off, for a third, I feel like they could have got a little bit more than that because Chase is having a nice little bounce back year. He's not getting the sacks, but he's getting the pressures. I looked that up. He's getting
Right.
some pretty good pressures. How do I think that looks with San Fran? You really need to go look at what San Fran has on that line right now. The rotational pieces that they're going to have, because let's not forget they got Randy Gregory over there too.
Yeah, they
So
do.
the rotational pieces that they have is crazy right now. So it's like if
Mhm.
somebody gets hurt, they're like, whatever, it's fine, we can do it. So like Chase Young might not even start. That's the crazy part.
No, exactly.
But
Because
to try to replicate that Ohio State pass rush. Hey, and you only gave up a third. They're going all in, man.
I
They're going
agree.
all in.
They're trying to tighten up that line as well too. So,
But
and then
it
of
was a
course they
decent
also
trade.
have, and they also got Leonard Williams also on that defensive line as well too. So that's
No, Leonard Williams went to
he went
Seahawks.
to Seahawks. My bad, my
Yeah.
bad.
So
But I mean, they're
that was a good trade. That really
yeah,
was a good trade for the Seahawks
yeah,
on paper, anyway. And
yeah,
look, I think both of the teams won. Think about this. They gave up a 2 and a 5 to get Leonard Williams. That's good compensation back to the Giants as well.
yeah,
So both teams win on it as of right now. We got to see what Leonard
right,
Williams does, and we also got to see what the Giants do with that pick. But
right.
the bigger head scratcher for me was if Chase Young could have been had for a third, why did Chicago give up a 2 for Montez Sweat on an expiring deal?
That one is
That one made no sense to me, and you're not guaranteed to
nothing.
get him back.
No.
What if Montez is like, no, I want 30 million? Man, we ain't giving you that. Well, I'm going to free agency.
Yeah, well, because we also saw that what happened with Roquan Smith, who was trying to get paid with the Bears, and they let him go ahead and go to Baltimore.
and the Baltimore paid him. So I mean,
Yeah.
Montez realistically is going to he's going to stay in Chicago because they're building something nice in Chicago. But the thing is, my biggest beef with Chicago is you just gave up a second overall pick, which is going to be a high pick because you're kind of trash right now. It's going to be a high
Hmm.
pick for a player that you potentially could have gotten free agency.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the issue. I'm like, why would you give up such a high pick? And it's like the brass in Chicago versus the brass in San Fran. You can see the difference because I honestly
Oh,
think overall Chase Young's the better player, and they got him for cheaper.
yeah. Yeah.
I didn't get it. I didn't get Chicago's move.
I don't get Chicago's movement at all. Like none of it made any kind of sense at all for me.
So it is what it is. And then I think Peoples Jones, that trade that the Lions got, that's a decent trade. That was
I
decent.
don't get that one. I don't get.
It was decent. They didn't give up nothing. They gave up I think what was it, a six? They gave up a 6th round pick for him. Hey, I take it.
Yeah, I guess.
But other than
Let's
that,
see.
man, it was actually a pretty the Rasul Douglas. That was a sneaky good trade for the Bills. That was sneaky
Yeah,
good.
that was a good one. The Bills, I mean, because like the Bills are pretty set, and but they're also trying to recover from everything that they lost in their secondary.
Yeah, that's why they did that. Rasul Douglas, he's a slot. He's a pretty solid slot guy. So
Yeah.
I like that. But the one that you wanted to talk about that we haven't brought up yet, and I purposely didn't say nothing till then, the Joshua Dobbs move.
Golly, boy, like I feel bad for that QB. I really do. He deserves much better treatment than how they're treating him because right now they're like, hey, if you want to tank, you call the Dobbs.
He is the poster child for tanking right now. They literally got traded to the Cardinals, and everyone knew the Cardinals was tanking. And he
Oh,
won some
absolutely.
games. He won a game. He beat Dallas and
Yeah.
stuff. So that was a bragging rights game. So now Vikings lose Kurt to the
Yep.
cherry on top of already losing Jettas. And now they're
Yep.
bringing, damn, we really need to tank. What better person to bring in to tank than a person that knows how to do it?
Exactly. Exactly. Now, my big question is like because they gave up a 6th round pick to get a 7th round pick. Like make this make sense to me, man.
They just moved back in the draft and got Joshua Dobbs as the piece to do that.
And that's so because ultimately it would cause them to move up in the first round.
I see it all the time. They do that. They swap players. They basically give me this player and I'll let you move up in the draft. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
but
And that's what they do.
I just don't see Joshua Dobbs able to carry that offense any further than what Kirk Cousins was already at. Like I
No, they're
don't
gonna
get
take a
it.
step back. They're gonna take a step back. So
I mean,
all you
running
fantasy
the
players out there that look at this, Addison's stock could possibly take a hit.
yeah. Look, I mean, like they're sitting there. I mean, he's already 28 years old, and he's 20. Yeah, so in 8 starts for Arizona this season, Dobbs is 62.8% on his passes. He's only has 1,500 yards, 8 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions.
That's not horrible though. That's not terrible. That's not that bad. For a
In
guy that you
eight
know that's not
weeks,
going to throw the ball a lot, he doesn't throw the ball a lot.
mm,
62% is not that bad, man. That's
this
for
what the
Joshua
league
Dobbs, that's not terrible.
because the league average is what 50% of your passes typically.
Hey, look, you ready for this one? He's light years ahead of Tannehill. Tannehill only had 2 touchdowns.
Uh, okay, so y'all want Dobbs?
No, we have Will Levis. Will Levis in one game threw more touchdowns than Tannehill did in 6 weeks.
This is true. My next question is what are y'all going to do with Malik Willis? Is it time? Is he done?
No, Malik will probably be the backup for now. I mean, because Tannehill's clearly gone. So we're going to have 2 young quarterbacks as QB1 and QB2. But the issue is this, and I like Malik Willis, so this is not a shot at Malik. If I'm the Titans and Levis shows leaps and bounds that he's the guy, we got to move Malik. We have to. We have to move him somewhere else simply because Malik was supposed to be the guy here, and now he's not. And he was starting over Levis, so you double down on Levis by moving Malik and saying, "Look, you ain't got to worry about this dude over your shoulder. This is your team now." And
Yeah.
I'm showing you that by moving the guy. I don't want to do it, but that's just the thing to do. Malik's not. He's not where he is right now, unless he does some serious development. He's not going to be a starter in this league.
No, Malik, absolutely not.
He's too gun shy. He doesn't want to throw the ball. He's so worried about throwing a pick that he won't throw a touchdown.
Mm.
Meanwhile,
Well,
Will like, I'm letting this thing go. I'm slanging this joint.
yeah. So speaking of your Titans, by the way, y'all picking up Terrell Edmonds. How do you feel about that?
Well, we got him as part of the deal, so that's an expiring contract. That the Kevin Byard move was a money move because to get a fifth and a sixth and that's Kevin Byard was worth more than that. But since we dump money, we're the second most cap next year. So
Yeah.
with that being said, if Will Levis proves this year that because we're not going to win nothing, but if Will Levis can show the league, not just the Titans, if he can show the league, hey man, look what I can do. I got a big arm. I'm not afraid to throw it. I have a little mobility if I need to get out of trouble. What's going to happen in the offseason? Damn, I'm going down a Titans road. We're going to draft O-line to protect him, and we're
Yeah.
probably going to get as many weapons as we can in free agency because we got money to spend.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen, and we're going to take the AFC South back.
We'll see.
Yep.
We'll see.
Yep. I don't care about y'all. I don't care about the
We'll
Jags.
see. We'll see. We'll see.
We ain't played either of y'all yet this year. Y'all better beat us now.
I agree. I agree. Especially with y'all wearing that heresy for a fucking uniform.
Hey, it is what it is, man. We own it. We the Oilers, baby. Don't hate. Get you a jersey.
You watch your filthy little mouth.
Get you a jersey, man. Don't hate. Appreciate. They look good.
No,
Hey, admit they look good.
they
Admit
look
it.
better if they would look
No,
better
no,
if
no,
they
no,
were in
no, no, no,
Houston.
no, no, no. Don't wear it. At them jerseys look good. They look damn good, and I'm glad we got the
Man, that's
dub
the
in them
other reason. That's the other reason why I'm pissed off about it. Okay.
because we won in them. It's like Will was like, I don't want to lose in these jerseys. These jerseys are so nice. I don't want to lose in them.
Whatever. Anyways, you hit on it before. I kind of poo-pooed on it. The Lions picking up Donovan Peoples-Jones. Taking a look at it, really it was to replace Marvin Jones Jr. retiring. They're not expecting Donovan Peoples-Jones to come in there, be wide receiver one, be wide receiver two. He's simply a role player in wide receiver three position. He shines pretty well in that. I do have to give that one. He does have big yard games. He can play in the NFL, but he is indeed the third or fourth best receiver on that team behind behind
Amon-Ra
St.
St.
Brown,
Brown.
Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams finally starting to click in with that offense after being gone away for so long. And then Josh Reynolds actually starting to get up there and make some moves. I see him and Josh Reynolds really competing, especially with all the problems that they had with Reynolds this last game against the Raiders. So we'll have to see that. Or not the Raiders. It was with the no, it wasn't with the Raiders.
I
He
don't know
he
when
had
they
a
played.
little no, he had a
I don't
pretty
remember.
sloppy game. He had a pretty sloppy game last week.
Donovan Peoples
Even
Jones can very well go to Detroit and be the number two, wide receiver two.
mm,
He can be. He has the
with what
ability to do that.
you talk about rotating out you talk about rotating out St. Brown and Jameson Williams at wide receiver one?
No, St. Brown has wide receiver one on a lot, but I'm talking about as far as getting open and being able to do something with the ball. Williams is going to be a slot guy. You just got to use that speed there. Send him deep and send him on drags. Send him on in. Send him wide. Everybody, I understand he's fast and you want to take the top off, so you can use that. Let's say Brown and Peoples Jones work underneath. So that could be very well. That's who I would go with. Josh Reynolds is. I would bring him in for red zone.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that one. Reynolds isn't bad because I mean Reynolds is not bad. He just had a bad game
No,
against the Raiders this one because I mean he pretty much is reliable like you said in the red zone positions. But like I said, I looked at Jonathan People-Jones and And it's because I was like, man, he's not a number one receiver. I don't know why you would want to trade for him. And I go against everything that I had said before. Not everybody's meant to be that X receiver, and that does not take away from their skill at being able to hit in the other receiver spots. Because they could be very good at underneath. They could be good at slants, at the slot, in different areas, and they do bring a lot to a team. And he does. He just Peoples Jones just didn't have a real shot in Cleveland with the way that system was being ran, and we'll just see how we'll see how he assimilates in there with Dan Campbell.
The biggest person that benefited from Peoples Jones being moved was Cedric Tillman, which is the rookie wide receiver for the Browns. So, because I think he's
Yep.
going to come in and fill that role.
Yeah. Well, between him and
And
David Bell, yeah,
Elijah Moore too has a chance
yeah,
to take over those targets. But we'll see what happens. I have no
yeah.
faith in Cleveland either.
You have no faith in
I have
Cleveland.
no faith in Cleveland.
You have I think Watson may have got massaged out pretty good out there in Cleveland. They're talking about him coming back to play the game.
We'll see what happens, man. Deshaun has been average at
Average, he's
best.
been a disappointment at
Yeah,
best.
I said at best he's been. That's what I said. At best he's been average. He's won some games, but he's not what he
Look,
was in Houston. And we can't say old
again,
age because he's still 20 something.
yeah. My whole thing is like, look, all I gotta say is thank you, Deshaun, for being a part of at least for helping us be able to rebuild from the Bill O'Brien era, where Bill O'Brien cratered our team, but you single-handedly were able to help us get back to being a year away now.
Nice, nice. Bill O'Brien, love that name.
Shit. You see how he's doing over there in Patriot country? Everybody
He's
realizing
got
that that
no
man's a
power.
fraud.
He's got no power over there. That's why
But at the same time, he ain't doing nothing,
he's a
nothing for
DC.
that offense. No, he's an OC.
Oh, the OC. I'm sorry. Yeah, the OC.
Yeah,
Hey, you need players to play too.
I understand. I understand. But so those are some of the big highlights. Those are some of the big highlights from the Chiefs, or from the Chiefs game, from the trades that happened this week. So let's go ahead and move it on to pick'ems and let's get this thing closed out.
All right, tonight we have Tennessee at Pittsburgh. Actually, within the next 30 minutes. And I'm rolling with Tennessee. After what I saw last week from Will Levis, it's going to be a very big test for him. Going to have a lot of different combinations of the defense coming at him because this is Mike Tomlin we're talking about. But I'm rolling with my squad on this one, man.
I
If Will
want
can
to.
be half of what he was last week, 2 touchdowns, we can win this game.
I want to say damn Steelers, but I cannot say it in good faith. I can't. They don't have a quarterback. They do not have a QB1, and they don't want to use George Pickens because they don't want to have to pay him. So I am going to have to go
They
with
got a lot of
Tennessee
time
in
with
this one.
George. George is only in his second year though, so they got time with George Pickens. And George
They
Pickens is
do.
gonna have a good game. He's gonna have a good game today because our secondary is not good.
Let me hurry and do something real quick while I got you right here and you're saying that.
Our secondary is not good.
Yeah.
Our pass rush is decent. Our run stopping is decent. Secondary,
No, I gave up George Pickens. I traded him.
to who?
I don't know.
Oh,
Shit, he's on your team, isn't he?
oh
You did
no,
get George Pickens back. Oh
I
well.
did. He was part of the Aaron Jones trade.
He was. He was. He was.
Shucks,
It'll be
shucks,
all right. It'll be all right. He was sitting on my bench most of the time anyway, so we'll see how that goes. All right, next game up.
shucks. All right, we have Miami headed to Kansas City.
I am obligated to never go against Kansas City, especially with this being on the internet. I have legal obligations to always say Kansas City.
That's not about being legally obligated, man.
I'm legally obligated to say
Go on with
Kansas
Patrick
City.
betting against Pat. But here's the thing, though, and I forgot to add this as a caveat. They're in Germany.
Exactly. And that's why, but that secondary is what scares me. And they're playing Tyreek, like, bruh, like,
This might be a revenge game, man. And Jalen
it's,
Ramsey's playing.
yes, I did see that. I did see that. So we're going to have to see, can Patrick Mahomes, with all three, with no number one receiver, uh,
That
do
secondary is
it.
pretty good, man.
The Dolphins secondary,
It's pretty
yes,
good, man.
yes. So we'll have to see how all that goes. I don't have high hopes for the Chiefs, but then again, it's very hard to bet against Patrick Mahomes because I mean the
It's hard
man.
for me to bet against Patrick Mahomes and having him lose 2 games in a row. That's the biggest takeaway for me. Him losing 2 in a row. He was
Yeah,
sick last week. I got it, but him losing two
but
in a row.
but
That's rough.
here's the thing though about him being sick. Like he was sick last week, right? But at the same time, like he was still in it. Like had they not fumbled the ball, I mean they could have easily won that game.
It was more than the fumble.
Well, had
It
a
was
couple of
more
other
than
drop
that.
pass. You had an
Yeah, it was
interception,
a
a strip
lot.
sack. Yeah,
They didn't lose by 3. So
no. But he was trying to have his Jordan Game 6 flu game, and he should have just sat that one out.
yeah, but moving forward on that, you have Minnesota traveling to Atlanta. If Atlanta loses this game, Arthur Smith's getting fired.
No, I agree with you on that one. I don't see Atlanta winning this one, or I don't see Minnesota winning this one with everything that's gone down. They got too many people hurt. Unless Cam Akers decides he wants to just run wild on everybody, I don't see it happening.
Not gonna happen. Definitely not gonna happen. Arizona traveling to Cleveland. Not even Deshaun Watson can lose that game.
Not even Deshaun Watson can lose that
No,
game.
not against
And
Arizona. And they just traded. They're going with Tyne. So is he a rookie? I don't even know if he's a rookie or not, but I know it's not time for him to win some games.
no,
So
no.
you have the Rams traveling to Green Bay.
I see Green Bay winning this one. They're in Lambeau Field. They're not as bad as their record shows. Jordan Love's coming on. I know you like him. I just see it. I just see him being able to do it.
If they end up with a top 10 pick, I don't think Jordan Love's done enough for them not to take a quarterback.
Really,
He's really got to play better to keep Green Bay from drafting a quarterback.
I can see that.
He has to be consistent.
Yeah, but at the same time, like he's done enough to where it's not time really to just give up on him as well either, though.
How long are we gonna give him? I know you only gave him a season, but he sat behind Aaron for how long? He's got to be
True,
consistent, man. And this
true.
draft's about to have some
Some
gunslingers in it.
quarterbacks. Yeah, it is,
So
and I
that's what
don't
I'm
think
saying.
Caleb Williams.
He's got
I
to
don't
do
think
more.
Caleb Williams is going to be the number one. Is going to be a number one overall pick anymore.
Anyways, Washington going to New England.
Uh, New England. Washington's toothless right
Scorched
now.
earth on defense.
Mm-hmm. Now,
Only
this
thing
is,
Washington has going for him though is Washington's offense is still intact, and Washington's offense is pretty good.
I'm about to say your boy Sam Howell is still running that show.
Ballin'. Ballin'. Told you Sam Howell was a dude, man. He's the guy for
Oh
them.
man.
He's the
What's
guy for them.
what's the next one up? Who else you got? Who else you trying to run me now?
Chicago at New Orleans. New Orleans is not
Chi-
gonna lose that game.
I don't.
New
Chicago's
Orleans not gonna
defense
lose
is
that
getting
game.
better. New Orleans, you got New Orleans
I
on that one.
don't care. Well, matter of fact, Justin, he's activated, right? He's good to go. He gonna play. You don't know. Okay,
I don't
we'll
know.
come back to that one. Put a feather in that one.
We'll put a feather in that one.
Seattle at Baltimore.
They are in Baltimore. I'm going with Baltimore.
Seattle could win this game.
Seattle can win this game. They
They can
they
win this game.
definitely can. They definitely can. But they are in Baltimore. That is the and Baltimore. It looks like Lamar's starting to finally figure out that offense and how it works with how he fits into that offense with his play style. So we'll see. But they're at home. Never underestimate the at home.
Seattle can win that game. Tampa Bay at Houston. I like
Baker,
Houston.
yeah, I do. But Baker Mayfield,
Yeah, you're not gonna pick Baker. You're never gonna
I'm
pick
never
Baker
gonna
ever.
pick Baker.
It
It
could
could be
be Tampa
between.
Bay versus the Oregon Ducks. You're gonna pick the Oregon Ducks.
I certainly will because guess what? Baker's gonna lose it for you because I watched him throw away so many leads All he had to do was get one first down, and he could have beaten Patrick Mahomes
He
and sent
wanted
them
to
on
go
to
for
their
the
first AFC.
touchdown. I want the touchdown. I want the first down.
The boy can't even see the touchdown when he's sitting behind his offensive line.
Yeah, that's one thing. I'm doubling back to the Titans. That's one thing Will Levis has to do. When I was looking at the film, he wasn't. There was a lot of times that he was going for 6 instead of going for the
The first
easier
down.
catches. And he'll get
Yeah.
it. He'll get it. Anyway, I don't want to go back to Will Levis. All right.
All right.
Indianapolis going to Carolina.
Carolina. I see Carolina being able to fight like hell to keep their 1-win streak up against my Houston
It's not
Texans.
a streak if it's one.
Exactly. They
They
beat
could get a
Houston,
streak
okay?
though. They could get a streak.
They could get a streak going. They got it. And I see them being able to do it. So let's see what they got. Bryce
I like
Young.
Carolina.
I don't know, but yes, I do like Carolina in this one. Let's see if the magic can continue and see how it goes. Who else we got up next?
Giants traveling to Vegas.
I see the Giants winning this one. Vegas they just fired Josh McDaniels in like the middle of the night. So
And
yeah.
they're benching their quarterback.
And they fired the offensive coordinator. Now it's like the quarterbacks coach or wide receiver coach or some coordinator.
I thought they just fired the coach and the GM. I didn't know they fired the.
No, they fired the offensive coordinator too.
Damn.
It's like the linebackers coach is the next.
So what you're saying is that all the Vegas coaching staff's jobs are all listed on Indeed right now. Is what you're saying?
Basically, yeah. So I think me and you could probably apply, and we'll go from there.
I wouldn't even go to the Raiders. I'm not taking my talent. Anyway, I'm gonna come back to this one.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
You know, I'm gonna skip the last two, and I'm gonna jump to the Monday night game, which is the Chargers visiting the Jets.
I see the Chargers just have a better quarterback than the Jets. So
yeah, but the Chargers have notoriously been underachieving.
I agree.
But they can't lose this game to the Jets, man. They can't.
They can't. They cannot afford it. Because I'm telling you right now, if they lose any more games, Staley is out of there.
Agreed. Yeah, he should have been.
Staley is out of there. And if I was Justin Herbert, I love Herbie. Everybody knows I love Herbie. But if Justin Herbert cannot prove that it was Brandon Staley that was his woes, he's out of there too the next season.
They've already paid him, so he's going to be there at least to write that contract out. So
I don't know. They'll move on from him. They will. They will move on from him.
The last two games, though, I think to be the games of the week. With the other game, the close third to that would be Seattle and Baltimore. But these two are the games of the week. I'm gonna wait for I think is the game of the week. I'm gonna say that one last. But this next one up, you got Buffalo traveling to Cincinnati.
That one I think is going to be the preview for the AFC Championship game. Chiefs aren't playing good enough to go back there. I'm sorry. Look, I know I'm not supposed to bet them. Not allowed to. However, I don't see them being able to get back to the AFC Championship game. So I think it's going to be Bills-Bengals AFC Championship game, and I think we're going to get a good preview. Joe Shiesty.
I'm not betting against Josh.
Joe Shiesty's heating back up. They're playing this game in Cincinnati. So we will see. I say Cincy, but I'm not fully confident in it.
I'm riding with the Bills.
But I do see the Bills being able to pull this one off, and I do see the Bills being able to keep going. So especially after losing to the Patriots, I think they need this dub.
And then the absolute game of the week, absolutely without a doubt, hands down, Dallas traveling to Philadelphia.
It's because it's in Philly. That is the only reason why I'm giving Philly the edge, because it's in Philly.
Philly had one hole in their defense. They had one in their secondary, and they fixed it by getting Kevin Byard. So Philly, if they're not the Super Bowl favorite right now, I don't know what it looks like. Because definitely now with San Francisco skid, because we were saying that San Fran and Philly were going to be in the NFC Championship.
Right. Absolutely.
So they're on a 3-game losing streak right now.
Yeah.
Philly still has they dropped to 1, right? There's no one defeated, so they've dropped to 1.
No. Yep.
Now, they're not winning in just like crazy fashion. They're not blowing nobody out, but they're still winning.
they're fighting through and they're winning the close games, which is of course is always the biggest telltale sign that you've got a championship team on your hands. Is when you can sit there and win those close games, grind out those those difficult wins that shouldn't be that close, but you still make it happen. Because I've seen it time and time again with the University of Alabama doing it every single time.
Yeah, winning the game when it's close, especially if your offense is out there, that does have a lot to do with the quarterback. But it's everybody's job. You got to make sure that the pressure is up high. I got to make sure I run these routes right. I got to make sure I'm blocking good. It's really on everybody, but ultimately, it's the leader of your offense,
But
your
the
quarterback.
biggest thing
So
that we're seeing though is that emergence of AJ Brown. And I'm not sitting there saying like he was hiding or anything like that. I'm just saying like this season is a special season for him.
he's on
Like
pace to break their him and
Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek are both on pace to break Megatron's record. So
Yeah. And that's going to be one hell of a race.
with two quarterbacks that don't have big arms, that's the craziest thing to me.
Yeah.
They're smart quarterbacks, and they're both
Yeah.
products of Alabama. There you go. Look, I'll give you that one.
Yeah,
But
they are.
that's it, man. Is that all we got?
That's all we got for the show, kind of breaking everything through. Um, we'll definitely have to come back and see how we did the last 2 weeks on the last 2 weeks. We'll do a recap of our pick'ems next week. Thank
I
you
think we were
everybody.
trash last week.
I think we did get
I
trashed
think we
last
were
week.
pretty trash.
The NFL was drunk last week.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been drunk for a while now. But
Yeah,
as usual, man, hey, whatever platform you're watching us on, like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends, let us know. Make sure if you drop some comments on there, they be constructive. Let us know if there's something that we're missing that you want us to talk about. And man, we'll consider it.
absolutely. And always, 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 if you got anything to say, put it in the comments section. We'll be there to address it. We love to have that discussion and interaction with you guys, and we'll bring it up on the show if need be.
All right, in 20 minutes, tighten up.
Whatever, man.